Jealousy, that evil green-eyed monster that makes us want to scream and cry at the same time, constantly surfaces in intimate relationships. Don't act like you don't have a similar memory of going to a Christmas party where that perky little blonde starts oogling your man and all you see is red, while fantasizing about dumping the punch over her perfectly curled head. Jealousy deals with a perceived third-party threat to a desired pre-existing relational state. Jealousy is triadic in that three people are involved and one person fears the loss of a valued relationship because of another person threatening an existing relationship. Jealousy can be interpreted as a paradox with contradictory feelings associated with it. On one hand, jealousy is considered a personality defect while simultaneously being approved of by society when perceived as an appropriate response in an intimate relationship. Jealousy can often be interpreted as a dark side concept with numerous negative emotions surrounding it. While jealousy may be perceived as damaging and destructive, it can also serve as a functional part of romantic relationships.
Functional ambivalence is an assumption that when appropriately integrated, the process or phenomenon in question will manifest a paradox. The world in which we live is not all dark or all light. We cannot truly understand how the world functions or how each individual communicates without taking into account past experiences, cultures, attitudes, relationships, and contexts. Both the light and the dark aspects of life need to be explored in order to present an accurate and full account of the human experience. The dark side metaphor, according to Spitzberg, is a way to see the world, which reveals those topics that are underexplored and require scholarly focus, are presumed to be destructive, evil, or otherwise not very nice, are perceived as dark but should not be, and perceived as light but should not be. In general, the dark side metaphor acknowledges the importance of functional ambivalence and that differences arise within IPC. Jealousy often accompanies intimate relationships, and the dark side lens can help us make sense of the functional ambivalence of jealousy in intimate relationships.
Although jealousy is known to be a predominantly dark side behavior, we should not be so quick to deem this action as all bad. Past research has given us profound insight about the concept of jealousy in intimate relationships, showing both the dark and light sides. Although most research shows that jealousy inhibits relationships and damages couples' interpersonal communication, jealousy continues to be a consistent factor in almost everyone's relationship. And for that reason, it constitutes more conversation. If this type of behavior is so destructive, why does it stay prevalent? Jealousy, in moderation and when used appropriately, can provide couples with a sense of relational grounding and can be an indicator for relational quality. Couples report higher relational satisfaction when there was reactive jealousy, meaning that one partner perceives a boundary to be crossed and therefore reacts with jealousy, instead of anxious or possessive jealousy. Not only this, but Kessler explains that it isn't truly about the act of jealousy in itself, but rather the way in which we displace this feeling. If jealousy is displayed in a functional manner, we both partners can benefit and move closer. In the last study we examined, we found that anxious couples are more likely to experience jealousy issues. Researchers explained that couples who have mental anxiety about their relationship have lower satisfaction. This study may initially seem dark, but when we stop to think about it, it is a learning curve for couples who are processing next levels of commitment. Once couples acknowledge implicit anxieties, they can learn to either cope or let go of their relational insecurities or the relationship in itself. Jealousy can bring relationships closer and foster normal feelings, as it is innate for us to feel that little green-eyed monster. When we feel this, it shows commitment or value for our relationship in a complex way. For example, Ross and Rachel from the hit television show Friends experience this feeling.
My first call! Here, let me. Rachel Greensline, how may I help you?
Hi, is Rachel there?
And who may I say is calling?
This is Ross.
Ross,
Of Ross and Rachel.
Oh, hi. It's Mark.
Oh, hey, Mark.
Hey, hold on.
Okay.
Hi, honey.
Hi. What's Mark doing answering your phone?
Oh, he's just goofing around.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. Why isn't he goofing around in his own office?
Honey, this is his office too. I told you, we're Joanna's two assistants.
Why does Joanna need two assistants? How lazy is she?
Oh my God, what did I just do?
What?
I think I just shipped 3,000 bras to personnel. Honey, I gotta go. Mark, I need you.
Okay, bye-bye.
From Rachel's perspective, Mark is simply her coworker and needs him in a platonic sense. For Ross, he sees Mark as a third-party threat to this relationship. Because he cares about his relationship, he feels jealous of Mark's presence. From the light side, he would suggest that Ross feels a high degree of intimacy in the relationship, and it is normal for Ross to feel threatened by Rachel needing another male. Ross and Rachel later discuss their feelings, and by discussing their own perspective, they are actually able to strengthen their relationship through this jealous encounter, thus reinforcing that jealousy is normal and can provide functionality.
The dark side incorporates the understanding that the outcomes of interpersonal communication are light and dark. People have various motives for what they do. Time is important in assessing IPC, and determining if something is light or dark depends on the individual, culture, and the context. For the dark side of jealousy, these assumptions are especially true. Bevan and Tidwell found that the relational uncertainty of jealous targets, individuals who have jealous partners, was predicted to increase when the jealousy expression behaviors of their partner were negative or destructive. This information suggests that the context in which the jealousy was expressed determined if that jealousy was perceived as destructive. Therefore, jealousy will be perceived as more dark within the context of one individual being motivated to act destructively towards their partner. When people are motivated by rumination, jealousy will likely lead to discontent within that relationship. Researchers were able to determine that relationship dissatisfaction mediated by rumination or persistent negative or brooding thought processes was linked to cognitive jealousy or jealous thoughts, and surveillance behaviors or indirect, low-profile ways of managing jealous thoughts. Relationship dissatisfaction was directly tied to cognitive jealousy. This would suggest that time, the individual, and the context plays a factor in the level of darkness associated with jealousy. When an individual is motivated towards jealousy, spends a great deal of time ruminating over it, they are more likely to engage in jealous thoughts, leading to relationship dissatisfaction. However, when an individual spends time ruminating but instead engages in behaviors that manage their jealous thoughts, this tends to lead to relationship satisfaction. Thus, whether the act of jealousy is perceived as light or dark depends on the individual and how they respond to it. Researchers found that the amount of affection received by a partner was inversely related to jealousy-invoking behaviors. This means that when affection in the relationship increases, jealousy-invoking behaviors decrease. This finding suggests that as the amount of warmth and fondness felt towards a relational partner increases, it will likely reduce the amount of jealousy felt between partners. However, the statement fails to address the moral and ethical implications of what happens when too much affection is shown within a romantic relationship. Any behavior that is used excessively and to the extreme can be considered dysfunctional or potentially dangerous and unethical. Too much intimacy or affection can consequently lead to jealousy, which can then lead to hostility, suspicion, and anger. When these emotions are extensively present in a relationship, that may lead to jealousy-invoking behaviors such as revenge, violence, and abuse. Jealousy at times has a light and dark side, but both are an essential component of IPC and are present in each of us during a romantic relationship. Relational dialectics theory can be used to aid in understanding the conflicting feelings associated with jealousy. RDT is a fundamental theory which explains that within communication, individuals are constantly dealing with these push-pull tensions or struggles that often arise within interpersonal relationships. These tensions can include wanting to be open and spend time with a relational partner, yet wanting to keep some elements private and spend time apart. We constantly struggle to maintain these tensions within our relationships and within ourselves. One tension cannot exist without the other and are continuously changing and happening every day. Jealousy can be explained as a tension that is often experienced within romantic relationships in which each partner struggles with deciding whether to confront their partner or keep the jealousy to themselves, rationalize their partner's behavior as a normal part of relationships, or decide that their partner's behavior is unacceptable and needs to be addressed. Jealousy can often bring out many negative emotions and feelings. RDT suggests that in order to maintain tensions, relational partners need to understand that communication is constituted in persons and relationships. It is each person's responsibility to understand themselves and their relationship in order to engage in effective and competent communication to manage the jealousy which may appear in their relationship.
Jealousy has a grave importance in real-life relationships. We experience times of jealousy because we are imperfect human beings and feel defensiveness when we sense a threat to losing a valued or possessed relationship. It is how we react to those feelings that bring us closer to understanding the act as good or bad. We care about this because the quality of our communication directly reflects the quality of our life. Communication is complex, collaborative, and a continuous process that requires responsibility. Each individual has the right to respond, and although we may feel compelled to respond a certain way, we are ultimately given the responsibility to freely choose the kind of response we may give. So the next time that perky little blonde bimbo ignites that green-eyed monster within you, remember that you have the right to punch her in the face. Wait, just kidding. You now have the knowledge to rationally respond and understand jealousy as a normal and functioning feeling. Or maybe that blonde bimbo is just hungry for those sandwiches sitting on the table behind your man.